Um, so again, pros and cons. Ultimately, our tests, data is valuable. If the test is providing data to the teacher, feedback to the teacher about how their kids are doing, where there are gaps that need to be filled in, that's valuable. That's the kind of feedback and support that we need. There's this ironic situation, sort of an unintended, so education policy is full of unintended consequences that we need to be very mindful of, and with No Child Left Behind mandating the core subjects to be tested, really math and English to be tested. Some schools have placed so much emphasis on math and English that all the other subjects have just fallen by the wayside. So, if you test social studies, that sends a signal that social studies is important, and you can't just, shuffle it away just to bring up your math and English scores. But the teachers need to get the feedback from the tests. It can't be just a judgment and the data is hidden away and the teachers never see it. So the tests need to be used as tools. And we need to be careful to that the tests do not eat too much into instructional time. That's an unintended consequence that could have the opposite effect of, I think, what we're in the business of doing, which is teaching our kids. So instructional time, and there's
sort of I think what you're saying is there are pros and cons, and there might be some need for some expanded testing and to be sure subjects are covered. But what we're talking about is really not just that. We're talking about 52 additional tests last year, more to be. A test, that's a very different thing from having a test in every subject, in every grade, in every school. For example, testing kindergarten, first and second grade students,
right,
which have not been done before, in that way. Or testing band, having a test for band students. That's what we're talking about.
Right.
So the answer is really sort of yes or no,
right,
with some perhaps explanation.
Well, I'm not sure that we need to test things like yearbook, the fine arts. I'm not quite sure how you could effectively test that. There's no point in doing this as an empty exercise. And now I know, and I have some reservations about testing the little kids, especially, the tests that were tried out this year, there were different schools who implemented the tests in different manners, and with some schools it was more disruptive than others, and some schools were less disruptive. So there may be a way to fine-tune those tests for the K through 2 students so that it is less disruptive. But I think that's a really good question, is do we need to be testing the kindergartners with these standardized tests? I'm not sure about that yet. Now, there is this overarching goal for the testing, which was that it was tied in to evaluating teacher effectiveness. And so that was the argument for testing every single subject, was because every single teacher needs to be evaluated. So as far as that goes, I think that we need to be looking at multiple measures for evaluating teachers. I'm not sure if the principal evaluation, that's a big part of it, but that alone may not be enough. I think it's worth looking at multiple measures. Student work, student work samples would be a measure. Maybe we don't need multiple choice tests for K through 2. Maybe student work measures would do the trick. Parent evaluations, looking at the kind of work that teachers do with their peers and with their teacher teams. So I do think, I do support coming up with a system of multiple measures for evaluating teachers, and again, but I don't think we need standardized tests in every single subject. Not 100% sure about K through 2, but I'm leaning against needing a big emphasis on standardized tests in the early grades.